Hey, Barry Grezmick here from Grez Guitars at the Central Coast Jazz Festival with Tim Lerch.
Hey everybody.
So we have the new Grand Tour here that Tim has been playing throughout the event, and you actually own one, which is wonderful. And I just wanted to take an opportunity to talk a little bit about your playing experience with it and how that corresponds to my design intent, and how it hopefully does correspond. It's nice when you plan to do something, you do it, and then you actually get what you planned for.
My experience with this weekend was I played it in many different contexts. I played duets with other guitarists at relatively low volumes. I played with my fingers, I played with a pick. I played it with drums and bass and two other guitarists in these sort of manic, guitar-a-thons. And it absolutely killed in every situation. I was blown away. These pickups, very kind of a small but important thing. I was on the stage with three guitar players, myself and two other guitar players who had vintage Charlie Christian pickups. That was a special thing with, Barney Kessel's guitar and all that. And those things were roaring, right? And then I played my Telecaster on the same stage the next day. And I have a couple of little spots where I can get hum canceling, so it was okay. This guitar, I played it on the big stage last night. And while it still had a little bit of single coil, because these pickups from Lawler are wrapped in a cage.
Yeah, the metal shell really seems to help.
It does. And so the combination of this guitar with these pickups is absolutely bonkers. It really is. Now, that doesn't mean you can't put other kind of pickups in it, because I love P90s and all these other things. I'm gonna have to buy 3 of these so I can get that. So
one with every flavor
that I want. Yeah, but it killed last night especially. The notes just all sounded like footballs just coming at you.
Yeah, I heard that. I really did out in the audience. It was no names being mentioned, but every time it switched back around to you, it was just like, whoa, there it is. And
and I was on this pickup, and then I tried this one, the rear as well.
Yeah.
In my life, I use the rear as well. I'm changing. I have another Lawler pickup, a humbucker in the bridge of mine. I'm going to change it to
change it back to this,
because the combination is just perfect.
Yeah,
it really is perfect.
So when I set out to design this and create it, like most of my guitars, I'm trying to find some balance of being as acoustic as we can to add life to the guitar, but not so acoustic you can't use it, like a big archtop.
Exactly.
On a big stage, so it was interesting for me because what I heard over the last couple of days is you noodling on this pre-event and thinking, oh, it doesn't quite sound as cool as all of these amazing archtops that are floating around.
Yeah.
But then when you got on stage and crank it up, I felt like it sounded gigantic.
Yes.
Right. And that's the interesting trade-off, is just taking a little acoustic energy away to give you more potential on stage live.
The thing that makes it sound good in a little quiet room with acoustic is the thing that creates a problem when the volume goes up.
Right.
It's just, and so what? We have a sound hole plug, which are beautifully designed, and they don't look stupid. You know what I mean? I bought some for another guitar from a different company, the well-known company that makes these things, and it changes the size of the F-hole so it looks funny.
Right.
And you suggested just leaving this one in for most practical purposes. If you take it out, you get more of the acoustic aspect.
It does.
If you put a mic close to it, it'll sound, we proved that. It'll sound really nice if you want that. But most of the time, guys got an L5 and it sounds great, and then they play with a drummer and it starts to howl. So they stuff underwear and foam and dip the F-holes, do all these things, right? So I'd given up on the large archtop with a rhythm section of drums and bass or organ and drums. I've just given up on it because it's such a compromise that even if you could get the guitar not to feed back, it doesn't sound good.
You're using it at the limit of its capability at that point, not in that sweet spot.
That's right. It starts to have, there's no dead notes on this guitar. A lot of times on an archtop, there's some dead notes right around here. Yeah. So we get rid of those. That's good.
Right.
There's no limit to how clear and beautiful we can go with the. that,
Yes.
right? And I'm sure the microphone is hearing this.
That's right.
That's the acoustic sound with fingers, you know.
And the slightly,
It's not wimpy.
that's great. Yeah, and the slightly better access, right? Not that I'm the only one making a 16th fret neck attachment on an arch top, but it is just further adding to the flexibility
I was
of
a
using
little
it.
worried about that because, you know, just you look down in there, what you're used to seeing.
Oh, sure, things aren't in the right place, maybe.
But it doesn't bother me.
Okay.
A 25-inch scale is a beautiful in-between for me because I'm a tele guy, but I play, most of my Gibson arch tops are 25 and a half as well.
Okay.
I play the, like, L7s are my favorite guitar, or he is 350. So, but in 24 and 3/4, even though that's what I kind of started on, it feels a little short to me. But 25 is just right because, you know, the old critters are getting a little bit.
Just a little bit of help from the shorter scale.
Yeah, it's not even that short. It's just shorter than
Just a little shorter, yeah.
So anyway, I love it. I love it. It's comfortable under my arm.
Yeah.
And you were kind enough to move the jack a little north.
Yes.
Because I do this.
So it's not poking you in the leg. Yeah, a little bit of, you know, and that's one of the things that's fun about this for me is doing a little bit of customization. For you know, because everyone, even though we do put out a lot of guitars into the world, every single one of them, I still talk to that customer, right? Every one of them, I've had a conversation with that person to see, you know, make sure that the pickups are going to be the right pickups for them and the color is what they want. And, you know, do you really need a 1 and 11/16 nut, or do you want maybe 1.7, just a little more room?
This one is 11.
In 1 and 11/16.
That's correct.
But I get requests for like 1.7 inches oftentimes for just a touch more space. And so, you know, being able to talk to everybody and make one just for them that's a little bit
that's really
customized
good.
is really cool.
I have talked to and had guitars built for me by people, and some of them missed the mark because of what I wanted didn't get translated, right? Either the builder didn't get the memo, or what I wanted was wrong somehow for the rest of the instrument, right?
Yes.
But one of the things I noticed is that particularly the dimensions of the neck, the width of the nut, the depth and the graduation, all these things, these are things that are personal. And if a builder is, you know, buying neck templates, fingerboard templates, already pre-cut so they don't have to do the math, well then they're not going to be able to make these little subtle changes very easily, right?
That's right.
And so I really appreciate that you are, because it's you think of it as a small thing, because you're building these things, you know. And
Right, I said, well, if I were to carve the neck to this dimension, I could just carve it a little more.
Exactly.
It's okay, it's not a lot of extra work.
Right. I want the back of my neck to be roundy and wonderful.
Sure.
Right? And if someone's buying a neck template that's only so deep, and they can't carve a round neck because it's too narrow. I mean, it's too thin to carve around. So they have to make this sort of square thingy. Anyway, I just appreciate that about you. I always have. And this the Grand Tour is the second Grez guitar that I have.
That's right. And this one, by the way, isn't yours. This is
This is the house guitar.
the house, exactly. So Tim's is a gold top.
If
Maybe
it goes
you see.
missing before the end of the festival, don't look at me, man.
But this one I set up in advance for Tim. We made sure the pickups were in it that he liked, and the string set's what he liked, just to save you the trouble of schlepping a guitar down here, right? There's just one waiting for you.
Right. But, sometimes slapping with guitar is a little hard because the airlines don't always let you put a guitar in the bin or whatever. So I really appreciate that. And interestingly enough, we can have different pickups. You cut different size holes, and this one is the humbucking.
That's
hole.
right.
And you know, it's really a good idea. This is just me preaching here. If you cut P90 size holes, you got to put P90 size pickups in.
Yeah.
But if you have humbucking holes, that sounds kind of funny. If it's cut for humbucking, there are so many and more every day of wonderful pickups in a humbucking form factor, and swapping them out then is not that difficult. And so consider that. And I don't know if it's a benefit for you or not, but it really is cool to have to realize that I love the Lawler Charlie Christian.
Yeah.
And to know that there's a guitar like this with two of them in it, and it sounds as good or even better than my Tele. You know?
Well, I think customers appreciate that because it gives them the freedom to experiment without getting boxed in. You know, I get a lot of, I think I want to try one of these Dynasonic style pickups, but I'm not 100% sure that I'm going to love these long term.
Right.
Fine, let's just do them in the humbucker size.
And then
Dynasonics.
find somebody who makes a humbucking.
Exactly, and if in the end it isn't what you want,
Yeah.
you're not boxed in. It's okay. You can drop something else in, right?
Yeah. Oh,
So-
and then this thing is beautiful too. It's this one is not. You treat it like
Yours is specially treated to make it gold-ish, but yeah, typically they're stainless steel.
It looks good. It really is. And we worked on getting it so that the edges of this thing are all roundy, and also that it doesn't rise up to above the.
Yes, trying to improve.
make
Always try to
sure that-
improve the ergonomics a little bit, right? No matter what you do, you put it out in the world, and then the players give you feedback.
Yeah.
And you should listen to that, and I try to. So.
I've been going on and on about this thing that you explained to me briefly, and I watched a video about it, about this mass that you added
Yes.
to it. Please talk about that
Oh,
in an
yeah.
intelligent way, because I haven't been able to, but
Yeah.
I know it makes a big difference.
So I think we all know that as the archtop or any guitar, acoustic guitar, gets smaller in diameter, this is 15 inches, or in depth, this is only 2 inches, the air volume is reduced inside the box. And that reduced air volume can no longer resonate really at a low frequency, the lowest frequency we need it to support the lower notes. So you get down to A flat, G, F sharp. As you're going down, the body is supporting those notes, the resonance of the body. So oftentimes when you have a small, thin arch top, you don't have that support because the body can't resonate at those frequencies. So what I've done is instead of depending on the air volume of the box to resonate at those frequencies, I have tuned the back by adding mass to it like you would a loudspeaker. So I've thinned the back out as thin as I can while still maintaining structural integrity. You can only go so thin.
Yep.
And then added mass to the middle of it, and by how much mass I add, I can actually tune them back. So I tune the raw backs to resonate at 101 hertz, which is, oh boy, am I forgetting? Is it between a G sharp, between a G and a G sharp, I think. Like it's not on a note, it's right in between. And because of course you don't want to tune things on the instrument on.
Yeah. Well, then you get
the weird wolf notes.
Yeah.
So the body is able to resonate at these low frequencies in a way that it shouldn't for its size, or you wouldn't think it would. And then I think what you find is as you go down through those lower notes, the energy of the body holds up and it reinforces the strings, and so it doesn't get plinkier and plinkier as you go down.
Yeah.
So it still sounds rich, and in the end it makes the guitar sound bigger than it is. And I heard that on stage last night with you. Like it was the smallest arch top on stage possibly, but it sounded the biggest,
Yeah.
I thought.
Yeah.
So-
And now, in order to create the mass, do you add a piece of wood to it, or do you leave wood?
I
left?
leave wood.
Okay.
Yeah.
That wasn't clear to me.
So the back is this whole.
There's a little mound of extra stuff.
There's a mound of extra wood right in the middle. It doesn't touch the top.
Doesn't touch the top.
It's still fully hollow. But yeah, depending on the size of that chunk of wood that's left when I carve out everything around it, and the thickness of the wood around it, the combination.
Right, and you can play that
You can-
game, and
you
you
can
play
tune
the
it.
game until you got it.
Yep.
So I have to mention, in light of that, if you have a thin arch top that's created in the conventional way,
Yes.
or if you have a big arch top that's created in the conventional way, as soon as you put it against your body and put your arm over the top,
That's right.
you deaden it, and where you deaden it is in the bottom end.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes that can be helpful because
Yes,
the
you
bottom
need
end
to
is what
sometimes.
gets roaring. But so this guitar, because of the way it's built and because of how it is,
Yes.
wood is removed from the body, it doesn't do that. You don't lose any sound. You're not dampening anything by having it touch your body.
Yeah.
And most people play with it against their body.
Right.
And so it's nice not to have to think, well, I got to play like this because then that's what
Yeah.
I'm here.
Yeah,
It's really, really nice.
It does hold up well and if you pull it to your body and you try to affect it, and you pull it tight to the body, you can dampen the low end.
A little bit.
A little bit, but for normal playing it doesn't. It
Yeah.
doesn't, yeah.
Anyway, I dig it. This is for me, because I've been hanging with you for a long time. I played one of the very first
Very early guitars, yeah.
This guitar for me and for my artistic sensibilities is the culmination of everything you've done so far in the guitar.
That's bad.
All this business that you're talking about of lowering the resonant frequency so we don't get something that sounds like a 335 that's kind of nasally and doesn't have any body. It's almost, those guitars, they're almost accidentally acoustic.
Right.
Right? They're not considered the resonant sound of the guitar. They got lucky.
Yeah.
And they got lucky that famous people played it and made good sounds out of it. But anyway, this, although there are many other models, I played your solid bodies. I recorded a song on an upcoming record with the little one.
With the Junior.
The Junior. Yeah. And I've heard it, been around and played other models, all of which are similarly well thought out and musically satisfying. So, but this guitar for me, it's like, it's the deuce.
Well, I appreciate that very much. Very much. All right. Well, thank you very much, Tim. I appreciate all your support and getting to hear you play this. It's amazing.
Oh man, I had so much fun. I couldn't believe it. It was just like, wow, it was singing out there. It was singing.
All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you.
Take care.